Space Ghost,
Coast to coast.
What a great show! And I wasn't into the original Hanna-Barbera Space Ghost. I knew of him, but it
Right.
really Coast to Coast is what got me.
Yeah, Coast to Coast was a hard pill for me to swallow initially. We've discussed it because I was like, "New Space Ghost, I'm in." And then he's,
Why is,
tapping the cards like David Letterman, and I'm like, "Wait, what is happening right now?"
why is he interviewing Raven from the Cosby Show? What's happening?
And I love that he imprisoned his band, like they had no choice.
Yes, just some random villains. I love that that's the intro to what was it, Musical Barbecue? The
Yeah.
scene that they put out. He explains the whole thing. He's doing, yeah, it's just, they just came to me with it, and I had some villains locked up, and here we are.
Here we are. Yep.
Worked out.
Well, the only show better than Space Ghost Coast to Coast is Two Guys Talking Toys.
No truer statement has been said. There were too many guys on that other show. This one just needs two.
Right. Yeah, minus
On,
the house band of criminals too.
on occasion, a special guest or two.
Yeah, we should have one soon. So hey, did you get anything new, or are we unboxing anything cool?
Both. I actually have.
Of course.
So this past week, it's actually been a pretty productive week. So first, to continue the saga of last week of Target, or rather FedEx, just randomly sending 2-bop steady just
right,
wherever.
because of the horrible sunshine that we had.
Yeah, if you watch the Indiana Jones map progress thing, it goes from somewhere out in California to New York and then back to Indiana for some reason. And
looking for inclement weather.
I guess so. It really
like it's too nice here, but Indiana may be having a rainy day.
They really had to justify that weather exception.
Did that ever get to you, or is this the one you picked up at Target?
As far as their tracking is concerned, it has been delivered. I need to go pick it up, but according to them, it's been delivered. So at some point, I'll get the two 2-bop steadies that I ordered. But in the meantime, because I have no patience, and I could
nice. Now you've got 6-bop steady.
See, oh, that's true. I got 6 of them, or 6 heads. It'll do.
That looks better than I thought it was going to be honest.
You know what? It really does. Despite like the promo pictures, like I like the promo pictures of them, but it really looked like it made it look like the heads were just way too oversized for this.
Yeah.
And I kind of like he looked kind of small, but in person, in hand, I still think this should be a little bit larger. He is a big dude, and I need to pop him open and set him next to some other guys. But he's a pretty, decent sized guy. He probably goes nose to nose with Slash, who's just a beast. But yeah, so I'm excited. Nice. I need to crack him open at some point and do some head swapping and see how that works out. So I got two.
I'm always like, you just open it up and pop the heads off. Like I just can't do it.
I've been doing it for you. You should do it once or twice. The next classified you get, just pop the head right off. It's a great feeling. You'll love it.
Not gonna happen.
So I also when we had lunch, and it's kind of great that we did, aside from getting to hang out and whatnot. I don't often get to go to the Walmart that's in that area by you. So
right. The Walmarts.
We found some new Transformers.
Oh, when we had lunch with Brienne. If she's watching, we should say hello. Yep. Thanks for having lunch with us, Brienne.
Lunch was great. Need to do it again sometime. So I found some new Transformer Legacy figures. So I found Quake, who was awesome. I
love the Prime. The
updated Generation 1 Prime, but I went through the whole rigmarole with you on this version. Like, this is super cool.
Yeah, and you made me want it. I didn't buy it because I don't have a Transformer shelf set up, but
oh, definitely get them if you get a chance. I love that this is the answer to the Japanese version of this, which is just the Generation 1 mold with articulation and is amazing, but also a little pricey. So if you're not looking to spend a whole lot on just full-on G1 Prime, but also has modern engineering and joints, not a modern update, which was classic, but I just want my G1 Prime, and I want to set him down next to the original and look like this might be for you, because he looks awesome. He's a deluxe scale, which is fine, because that's the original was
that size. It always bothered me when I was a kid how small Prime was.
Yeah, I always wanted him to be larger, and I didn't understand the whole like importing that it's just a cobbling of
Right. I'm like,
25.
why is
But
my Walkman
yeah,
bigger than this truck? I mean,
yeah,
I know why, but like as
yeah,
a kid playing, like this sucks.
yeah. It's like, why is Blaster not the leader? And then he was in the comics, so it's like, okay, well, there's some some correlation there, but
Right.
he is the biggest Autobot currently. And got Slipstream, which is awesome. She's the female seeker that everyone was obsessed with that they introduced in Transformers Animated. So she's
Right.
fine. This is one of like the first versions of her in the full on, like fully integrated into the I don't want to say G1, but kind of like a more of a modern look instead of it having a stylized animated look or
Right.
something.
So they kind of retrofitted her back where she belonged.
Yep. Or this is where a lot of people wanted her. Took them a while, but they got there. Not bad. This is pretty cool, and I hope that we get more of these. Like she's a retool of I forgot her name, Windblade, but still really good. Like I appreciate them repurposing and reusing tools. Just give me these in all the colors and all the flavors, and that's all I ask for. So, mystery box time, which might not be that much of a mystery today. So I'm doing.
Where's it from? Where's it from? Let's hear.
It is from Hasbro Pulse. I pulled.
It's got to be Nemesis this time.
I pulled 2 Pulse boxes because yeah, I actually would like to open actual Nemesis Enforcer at some point. So let's see. And this one feels kind of hefty, so this very well might be.
Here, he's gonna watch
Nemesis Enforcer. Stay tuned for your brethren. Nemesis. I always kind of wondered about that. If there was more than one Nemesis Enforcer, like we only saw one in the movie. But I always kind of wondered, was there more than one Nemesis Enforcer, or was there just
No, it's just the one.
There multiples? Oh, this is not Nemesis Enforcer. This is two boxes that came packed in one box. This is, you know what?
2-box pop.
This has got to be a record for Hasbro Pulse because they never send things.
No, they're really not very smart about that.
When I got the Transformers Selects did a box set of a repaint of the combiners, the Seacons Piranacon into their Beast Wars 2 repaint called God Neptune, and they released it as just a box set. So ordered it, and people were getting like refrigerator box style boxes. They were just massive boxes for. It was the gift set was a decent size, but you're like, why are you sending me a washing machine? Hey, the saga comes to an end. The guy that I have been griping about for
was once a man? Oh, how
once a man. Once a man, Cobra Commander. This box, I was not expecting the box is another like lenticular.
Oh, nice.
Changing. That's amazing. And it goes through 3 forms. It's a whole the whole transformation of him turning into the snake thing.
That's cool.
Super cool. Good job, Hasbro.
Well, let's see the figure again. We're gonna get a quick look.
So he comes with the actual. Oh, sorry, there's a glare of
me on it.
Yeah,
it looks good.
Comes with an extra head. Comes with the bendy snake. So I got to dig roadblock.
You got to get a roadblock.
And have him walking around with once a man Cobra Commander. Oh, that's so cool.
That's fantastic.
That is great. Good job. Next time, make him not so insane to get a hold of because this is awesome. Oh, I can't wait to. I really got to work up. Got to work up a new G.I. Joe display. Oh, what a good looking figure. I don't know if this looks like. Oh, okay. So they used the other Cobra Commander figure for the cover.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
This is great. I'm excited. Man, do the rest. I really can't wait for them to do the rest of Cobra Law because we need all of them. We need every single one of them because they didn't make all of the Cobra Law figures in the original line, did they? There was
just the 3.
Who was the assassin that first shows up? The woman. I forgot her name.
They never made that figure in the original line. They may have done it later on in the 90s, but no, they didn't. The original line was just the 3 of them, just the soldier guy, Nemesis, and Globulus.
They need to get on it. What are they waiting for? All right, one last one, and then we can be done. This one also comes from Hasbro.
Oh man, if you get Nemesis and Was Once a Man Cobra Commander on the same day, that'd be a great day.
What a great. And then we'll just end the podcast because I'm gonna go and play with my toys. Because that'll be the oh my lord, hey. There we go.
There he is.
Now we've got him. I think this is like the last Hasbro Pulse box that I've got too. Everyone else from Hasbro Pulse has been open. He was the last one. That is fantastic. He is more impressive in person than all the pictures I've seen online. Oh, and
as am I.
Like you are no stranger to these kinds of compliments. I like that you can even see. I remember you showing me the wings being kind of see through. But I love that you can already kind of see it in the box.
Yeah, they're well done.
I'm gonna pull his head off and replace it with Cobra Commander's head and see how that looks.
You are a sinner. A sinner.
That'll be a fun time. Oh, I'm excited for this. That's awesome. You're Grimlock. I'm demoting you for this episode.
There you go.
There we are. Will Once a Man's stand up? Perhaps. Maybe he'll have better balance than Vinny from Biker Mice from Mars. Right. He was one that ruined things last week. He decided to take a dive and make it all about himself.
Vinny.
I know nothing of this character from the show, but I presume he's a selfish jerk.
Fair enough.
So we shall see.
Every Vinny I know is one of those.
I mean, they don't have any choice, especially after My Cousin Vinny. You have to be a jerk.
Yeah. So I got some more Joes and I got some stuff, but I also had some I come across something that was kind of cute and I liked it, so I bought it. And I was just wandering through Burlington and saw a box set of these Warner Brothers figures, little slug figurines, in DC superhero costumes. And I bought them. So we have Tweety Bird Flash.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and Wile E. Coyote Batman. And so they were in a whole box, and of course Bugs as Superman, and I like how they did the cape.
Yes, that is good job. That is smart.
Yeah, they did that. I don't know why, but Taz is Aquaman.
I'm sure.
And he comes this stand comes.
Oh, but it's a little water effect. That is
yeah.
Cool. Somebody was like, yeah, Taz is from the land down under, and they're like, yeah, underwater. Got it.
Yeah, they're surfers. Yeah, got it.
Sure.
And then I thought they'd do a Green Lantern in there, right? But they made Daffy Shazam.
Really? That's an odd choice. This was because he's actually been part of the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he have been Green Lantern?
What are we doing?
And then I told you a couple of weeks ago I got on eBay I got some Tick figures, and I opened them up because they were in box. But you know how I am. I opened them.
Open
those. So I got the mucus Tick.
Oh, well, that is awesome.
And you know what? I don't know if I forgot or didn't realize there's a play feature on this figure.
Oh,
I did not know. Yeah, so it's got the regular 5 points, and then it's got this removable reservoir in the back that you can fill with water.
Yeah.
And then you put it back in and you squish it, and then water leaks out of his head like slime pours down. I did not realize there was a play feature.
I mean, it's weird that they want you to use water instead of clear slime.
Well, I mean, I guess they're little ducks, so it might clog up. But very cool. I did not either remember or realize that this figure had a play feature. I like it, and it looks good. It doesn't affect playability. You never even know that squishy reservoir is there.
I wouldn't have seen it unless you turned them around from the front. You don't even it's invisible. That is great. I thought it was going to be a light up feature that was weird, but that is awesome.
Yeah.
I've always been tempted to try and get a hold of that one just because he's clear green, and I love the episode with Drackle Throg, and I love Tick defeats him by just sucking him back into his face.
Yeah, and I love that it's a little hole right there, like on the side of his head,
Oh, yeah,
right
not,
there.
not,
And it
does,
doesn't affect it at all. It doesn't affect the mold. It
does,
doesn't affect playability.
does the head
This is
turn?
a great, yeah. Head still turns.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
it's just
That
like
doesn't
I don't know if
hinder
you'll
it.
be able to see. It's just a hole right up through his
Mhm.
hollow head.
And that actually works because like even if you lost that and you
Yeah.
left him as is, he's just a glob of mucus. So having
Right.
random holes and dents does not take away from the character. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but this is exactly what I was talking about last week. Like,
Hmm.
this is a fun mold. I mean, I
Yeah.
showed this other, the long box hero tick last week, but
Yeah.
you know, 5 points for articulation. Got a little cool play feature. Clearly a toy, well made. Like
Hmm.
this is perfect. No notes. I love it.
That is a great figure.
Yeah.
I would love to see at some point. Who knows whether or not it will happen or not. I would love to see just a full line of tick figures and characters because there's so many, and you could fill
Again,
multiple waves.
Super 7 Ultimates.
Oh
That
man,
would be a beautiful thing.
and they love them some clear and glow. We would absolutely get mucus tick immediately in like clear green, probably with a glow. Because
Yeah.
I appreciate that Brian Flynn loves glow in the dark things as much as I do. Just recently, they announced on Super 7 the glow in the dark scratch. Dag
Yeah, I
nabbit.
saw him on Big Bad for a pre-order.
Right,
And I thought of you immediately.
right on the heels of glow in the dark wingnut and screw loose, who I was not going to get. They look super impressive, but I wasn't going to get them. Now I am. Keep the glow in the. I'm hoping that somewhere down the line, maybe not that far down, possibly within the next month or so, we get a glow in the dark Triceraton. I don't care why. I don't care why they're glow in the dark. I don't need a story. You can say he got irradiated by something in space. I want an
Right.
orange glow in the dark Triceraton. That would be awesome.
Orange glow in the dark would be cool. Yeah. So today's topic, it's getting that time of year where we start Christmas shopping, thinking
Mhm.
about what we can get for other people, which is a sad time of year because there are still toys that I want, but I'm thinking about things that I want to get for other people.
Mhm.
And both of my brothers are collectors. Dale collects a whole bunch of stuff, my younger brother, and
Mhm.
my older brother Derek used to be more into collecting. He did a lot of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and he's really the one that introduced us to like Dungeons and Dragons stuff, but he doesn't collect as much anymore, mostly
Yeah.
monster stuff, horror movie stuff. So
Mhm.
it's difficult. It's not difficult to shop for him, but I don't have the broad array of stuff that I used to,
Yeah.
Once Disney kind of took over, he phased out of the Star Wars stuff. So I was thinking about, man, what would I really like to get him? And it got me thinking about like those holy grails of the toy collection. Like, what would
Yes.
really knock his socks off that he really would want? It's hard to find, it may be
Mhm.
expensive. And a couple things rang through my head. And then I started thinking about my holy grails of
Mhm.
what I want. So I want to talk today about, Tom, you and I and our holy grail. So
Uh,
what would be on our Christmas list this year for us to get?
this has been a long time coming. So I guess the question is: are we talking within parameters, or is it just what do you want? Like money is no object. Just
Right.
you want to get your hands on it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
In like an ideal world, what do you have?
Right. I'll give an example. So of course, one of my holiest of grails would be the USS Flag from GI Joe
Mhm.
1985,
Mhm.
giant table, coffee table size
Mhm.
aircraft carrier, right? I would love to get it. I've only seen it on display 2 or 3 times, and every time I'm like, drooling on it. Like, I need a bib.
Mhm.
I wish I could have it because what a wonderful display piece. It's so big that you could literally take the G.I. Joe headquarters and put it on there, use it as the table to display your headquarters, which would be amazing. Everybody wanted it when we were kids. Nobody had it. I don't know how much it was when we were kids.
Yeah,
Wasn't
I don't remember.
it was like 100 something. Like it
Mhm.
wasn't like what now as adults isn't a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Certainly it was more than my parents would want to spend on a single. item, right?
Yeah.
Unless it was, like when we got Grayskull, that was a big deal, and it was
Mhm.
for all of us to share. It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah. Yeah. There was always that. You guys play with this together.
right, yeah, and it would have been one of those big presents.
Mhm.
But you look it up now, and it's as much as one in really good shape is as much as 5 grand,
Yeah.
right? And then and that's the one that still has all the stuff on the deck and comes
Mhm.
with Keel Hall, who's the captain, and but I can't drop 5 grand on this. But if I found one for 200, like it's just going to be the husk of
Uh-huh.
it. So it's like, is that what I really want?
Mhm.
So, the fact that I'm pretty much married to the idea, unless some relative I know has it and then they leave it to me in their will, that I'm probably not ever going to own the USS Flag.
You know
But
what?
that is a holy grail of mine. One, it's not easily found, and two, it's not affordable. So if we could, like, things we want that maybe can be found but they're not
Mhm.
affordable, or maybe things that can't be found. And if you do, they're not in good shape or not affordable, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I always kind of wonder because I know that you used to do the kind of like the flea market circuit when you were down south, and you never came across like a stripped down body of one, huh?
Nope, nope. Because
I
I would have bought it because you can on eBay and through other finders, like you
Yeah,
can piece things together.
it's
Like
the same
that
as
one.
finding like some set of grandparents who are just moving out their stuff from the attic and this stuff that their grandkids don't play with anymore, and here's this battleship thing. Please, 15 will do you.
Right. No, I lucked into the headquarters. Like
Hmm.
I lucked into the headquarters and the hovercraft and all kinds of cool things for literally pennies compared to what it should have gone for.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe my GI Joe luck has run out in that, and I'm grateful for finding those things. But I would have to find someone like you said. Like I found, long story short, um, somebody was at a a yard sale and
Hmm.
found a box of GI Joe stuff. The GI Joe headquarters still with the box, the Dragonfly, the
That's
hovercraft. That was up here in New York. I was still in Carolina. I got a phone
mhm.
call. Hey, I found this. Box of GI Joe stuff, and oh yeah, send me the pictures. Da-da-da. Immediately, I'm back. Like, find out how much. I'll send. Find out how much.
Anything.
And it was somebody having a yard sale because a tenant in their apartment and the house just left without paying rent and left their crap, and they were
Huh,
selling it just to get it. Whole box of stuff. Kid you not.
mhm.
GI Joe headquarters with the box,
Man,
hovercraft, Dragonfly helicopter, and like a Jeep. $25.
what happened in that
And
collector's life that they had to abandon?
right. She said she on the phone, she said she'd give it up for 25. I was like, "Buy it
all of them, get all of those,
and
please.
then run, run,
Just just tossing money at your phone. Here, just take it. Go
run."
eat. Don't give them
Like,
a
I
penny.
even
Look
said,
'em
I
up.
said, "Find out how much they want, but it's probably gonna be really expensive." And then she was like, $25. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Buy it and run, buy it and run."
how many years ago was this? You don't mind me asking?
Uh,
Because even if it's
probably 12.
okay, so I was gonna say if anything less than even if it's less than like 20 years ago, that price is insane. And this is before there was there was always like the giant boom of collecting anyway, but
Yeah,
now when once more and more people found out about it or remembered it or got like their nostalgia up and then we're getting jobs that paid well, the value just skyrocketed on so many of those items, and to
yeah,
find them like with the boxes and in good condition, not bad, good gets.
yeah. It was like 12 years ago.
You know,
So what is your first grail you want to talk about?
um hmm I mean, are we and I don't want to destroy this with too many questions, so I'll talk about like maybe
Just
like
go with your gut. Just go with
maybe
your
like
gut.
the first grail that I remember wanting as like as a younger person was when I got into sectors and getting that first one, and it really just yeah, I know I go back to this moment repeatedly about standing in models and having Zack and Biter in my hands, and just wasn't even a question in my head that I was not that I was gonna yeah, I wasn't getting it. Like it never entered my mind that I might get this thing, and then getting him, and it just almost seemed and this sounds ridiculous, but it just seemed like this I don't want to say holy moment, but to have been in that place
You
in
go,
that time and had,
"Oh."
yeah, it, as a child who just knew he wasn't going to get this. I just wasn't,
Right.
because my parents work hard, and it wasn't a holiday or anything, and he got him for me. And then that kicked off the obsession and probably made their shopping a lot easier, because I was a boy. I was obsessed with bugs and creepy things, and dudes punching each other, and here's a bug puppet that grossed out my mom, and they're like, just look for anything that says sectors and get it for him.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
cow.
yeah.
But I remember watching the commercials that were set up in that great, like, cinematic episodic way, and the final section of that was the Hive playset, and that became my immediate, like, I understood. I still understood, even though I had gotten very lucky and very fortunate that they just, for like birthdays and for Christmas, whatever, were getting me sectors. So I had almost everyone except for, I think the only one I was missing was Skulk and Truncula. Everyone else I got over the course of like that year. And then Christmas rolls around, and I remember seeing the commercial for the Hive and wanted it so badly. Like, that was my first, holy cow, I want that so badly. It'll never happen, because I understand, like, a little bit of, I understand economics enough that this will never happen. And then getting up Christmas Day and coming out, and there it was, just laying up against the wall with like a bow on it, and I lost my mind.
Mhm.
Grail acquired through no
Right.
through no feat of my own, except for being a super overly excited younger person about sectors, and played played with it till I destroyed it. It was super fun, like the whole ladder thing, the trap door setup, the gun, the net, the monster who's named Nar, not the monster Nar, which is what I thought he was called. Um, that was super cool, and I hope that every collector has that moment where this thing that they've been hoping for and searching for and really, really wanting and pining after, but can't get it for whatever reason, gets that item. Whether
I think that's the reason we do it. This is the reason we do it. And you know what? I miss that feeling. Like
Mhm,
I really do, because now we're at the point where people want to get us stuff for Christmas, right? And they ask, "What don't you have?" And you tell them, and then somewhere in that lot falls what I'm going to get, and
mhm,
everything is pre-ordered, and we know what's coming out in the stores
yeah,
3 months before it comes. But I miss the days when one, stores were stocked, and
mhm,
two, you'd go to the store and not
yeah,
know what you were going to see there,
yeah,
and that oh, I was hoping for this character, like that kind of thing, and learning new characters. Like Joe's would come
mhm,
out and you had no idea where they're coming, so you had to pick them up, read the file card right there in the
mhm,
store, and find out and get excited about the character. um you know, and even Star Wars, you they had the Creature Cantina, you saw all those fanciful things, and then once it
yeah,
showed up in plastic, you're like, oh, that guy was on the screen for like half a second. I'm so glad
yeah,
they um is the Hive another, like, since you had one? Because I've got a
mhm,
couple of those goals, like they're grails that I had when I was a kid,
mhm,
and of course wrecked it because I was a kid,
yeah,
right? Um, but I would like to find it again.
mhm.
Problem is everybody else wants it to.
Yeah. Recollecting is definitely a thing, and it almost resets the clock on your grails, because if you
Yeah,
had something like that you really wanted as a kid and you managed to get it, and yeah, through the sands of time, either you destroyed it as a kid because it's a toy and it should have been played with,
right,
or it deteriorated, or maybe your parents threw it away, or like some, for whatever reason, you don't have it anymore.
right.
Recollecting things is such a huge thing, and I did in fact I recollected all the sectors, and finally, oh, I may have been texting you about it. I stumbled across, and this is why I still, as much as eBay has kind of transformed from what it initially was, and now it's the most proficient uh, buyer bias kind of anti-seller setup that it has ever
Yeah,
been, you still will randomly stumble across something where you can't believe what you're looking at, and you're wondering if it's maybe like a listing error. Am I seeing this wrong, or did I just come at this the right time, right place? I remember a couple of years ago coming across a listing for the Sector's Hive playset,
Mhm.
and it's sitting at like almost nothing. And I ever just I tagged it, and I figure, as the days go on, it's going to become, just unattainable. Because you do that with I do that with a lot of stuff that I'm just kind of
Right, right.
interested in. It'd be nice to have. So I'll just keep an eye on this. And it comes up on the final day, and I get that warning from eBay, hey, this is going to run out. And I just sat there agonizing over it. I'm like, do I throw in a last minute bid? It's not gonna end. So there's no harm, no foul, just throwing it out there. And then it got to be like the 14-minute mark, and it's still sitting at practically nothing. And I'm like, so now I'm wondering, is the seller just going to end this because it's not going to
Right.
go for anywhere near what it's probably worth on the secondary market? And I just threw out a bid, and I won for less than the amount
Nice.
that I tossed out there. And I had been arguing with myself back and forth. I'm like, don't do that. You don't have anywhere to put that thing.
Mhm.
But when would I ever have the chance to get it again? It's the whole
Right.
it was the whole like Mattel Eternia. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Eternia playset that Mattel did. When will I ever have the opportunity to throw down some money for it? Now, granted, it's eBay, so something else may very well pop up again. So
Mm.
it may not have been a once in a lifetime thing. But in this case, I was like, I just go for it, and I went for it and actually secured it. So it's sitting in storage, in a in a box.
Of course.
Because
You know,
I
one
have
of the
nowhere
things,
to display it. But I did reacquire the hive, which was a goal, which
right.
was like my first grail.
Most of my grails are things I want to reattain.
Hmm.
One of my favorite pieces is my Shogun Godzilla from 1977.
Hmm.
Um, and Dale had the Shogun Warrior, and we used to play. And then Derek got Shogun. I want to say it was Mattel who made the
Yeah.
Shogun line. Um, had the Rodan that they made for that line, and it was
Hmm.
cool. It had like finger holds on the top, and when you did this,
Hmm.
his wing, and he was had a big wingspan, maybe two
Yeah.
feet, and you'd flap him, and then his talons had rubber bands in them, and so you could flick them, and they'd
Oh,
snatch whatever you want, and his head was well, fantastic figure to go with the Shogun Godzilla,
yeah.
and we had it. I don't know whatever came of it. I don't remember it breaking. I don't remember
Hmm.
getting rid of it. I don't know what happened to it. Um, but I really, really want to find it again. And
Yeah.
it shows up on eBay once in a while in a variety of conditions, right? But in good
Hmm.
condition, it's going for like 1,800 bucks.
Yeah.
And you could find the pieces if you have a busted one. But like I'd want to get one that's pretty nice. And so like that's kind of cost prohibitive. Like I
Yeah.
can't drop 1,500 bucks on a toy. And the
Hmm.
other thing that I was thinking about for Derek, and I may have mentioned this before, is a Gregory bat. So
Oh, I do remember you mentioning this.
yeah,
I look it up. I've never heard of it before.
this is one of the things that I'm hoping someday to find affordably for Derek, because he
Hmm.
also had, so it was only maybe 12 or 14 inches across, about 8 inches wide, and it was simple rubber, but the face
Yeah.
was so realistic, and it was like a purple burgundy color and
Hmm.
had yellow eyes. But the gimmick was, so the advertising of it was horrific. So it had a clear plastic like belly,
Hmm.
and you could see its internal organs. And if you turned them right side up or upside down, I can't remember which,
Hmm.
blood, like a red liquid, would ooze down through the organs.
Hmm.
So the gimmick was with the rubber that you could make them bite your finger. And so if he was hanging upside down, you could
Yeah.
take him off and make him bite your finger. And then
Hmm.
blood would ooze down as if he was sucking the blood out of your finger.
I remember that being a popular gimmick in like the mid to late.
Yeah, it was horrific. You couldn't do that now. But I see them on eBay. You know, you can see them sometimes in box for
Hmm.
600-700 bucks.
Yeah.
You can find them out of the box sometimes for a couple of hundred. And then there's one I think running currently that it looks like it was in a fire. Like
Yeah.
it's like looks like it has like soot on it. It literally looks like it was in a fire, and
Plus
it's
Shogun
going for
Godzilla.
like 150 bucks.
Yeah.
And this was like, I think it came out in like 1979, 1980,
Hmm.
somewhere right around that Godzilla, which was 77,
Yeah.
a little bit after that. Um, but man, I would love to find one of those in good shape. And the other thing that I would like to find for Derek, which is a kind of a holy grail of mine, is I found for Dale the 16-inch Hulk Hogan.
Hmm.
Because he's a Hulkamaniac.
Hmm.
He can separate the person from the actor. And they made a Roddy Piper like that with the
Oh.
kilt and the hot rod shirt, and you
Hmm.
never see it. You never see it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one.
And I've seen it with like none of the clothes, but I'd like to get him one
Mhm.
where he's got the whole kilt and the clothes and
Yeah.
all that. And but when you do find them, they're several $100s.
Yeah.
And those are like grails. It's nice when you have a grail for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like,
I was,
God, they'd really love this. I just want to
is,
find it.
is it made out of plastic, or is it one of, is
Yeah.
it more like a
Yeah.
stuff?
No, it's plastic. It's
Okay.
articulated. It's got 5 points of articulation.
Hmm.
They made the Hulk Hogan too. It's 16 inches tall.
Yeah.
Very well detailed. Like the body
Mhm.
shape is just like Hulk Hogan's. He's got the yellow face, but he had the red muscle shirt with the belt. It said
Mhm.
Hulkamania. Um, yeah, they were cool figures, and you could find it like Hogan. You could find because
Yeah.
they flooded the market with Hogan stuff,
Mhm.
but and people also get rid of Hogan stuff, but they don't get rid because they have so much of it.
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty readily
up
available.
until recently, there weren't a lot of good uh, hot rod stuff,
Yeah.
so people hold on to them.
Mhm.
Um, so I really would like to find that. So
Wait, wait.
what are some of the things that you want to recollect?
Well, I want to go back to your Godzilla real quick, because I one of the once I was kind of done with um sectors and then move forward, when I got to college and had like, part-time work and had a little bit more money to play around with.
Mhm.
I started and rediscovering things that you had as a kid. But one of the things that stood out to me, because I love Godzilla and I had tons of Godzilla toys and I loved the Trendmasters line, and then I started getting more into uh, the Bandai line of
Mhm.
figures that were coming from Japan, because now I had, the internet was a thing, and now you could see more things, which is never good for a collector, but you
Right,
could see
right.
more things, and I had access, and I had more opportunity to travel and go places. There was a store in New York City that was called Image Anime, and I used to go on like we take the bus with some of my buddies from college. We would go and like just kind of wander around and then come back, and we would always hit this store. And I remember in the display window for this store, they would always update it and they put in like some of the newer stuff. But there was always this gigantic, like 2 foot tall Godzilla figure. And I fell in love with it and I wanted it so so badly. And it was called the Godzilla, I think it's called the Godzilla Super Premium or the Godzilla Super Final, something along those lines. And it took me lots of saving and a lot of ramen, and I actually wound up getting the more exclusive version of that, which was the burning Godzilla. So it was like super final premium burning edition to commemorate his death in Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Right.
And it was clear orange and red, and the tail comes in sections because it's like 3+ feet long once it's fully assembled and 2 feet tall, standing on its own. I acquired this, and it was the you know as a younger person getting the Hive, it was awesome, and I just wanted to like get more things to play on the Hive with. And this was a different experience. This was something that I scrimped and scrounged and saved for. Finally got it. Couldn't believe it when I got the notice that it was waiting for me at like the post office. Get it home, open it up, and I just let out this big sigh, and then I stopped collecting. Like I was done. Um, I had a bunch of stuff in the apartment, And I remember, arranging it into whatever display, and that was the center of the display, and I was over. I didn't go to toy stores.
Yeah.
I still looked at stuff that was coming out, but like I stopped hunting. I was just done. This was the best thing that I felt like I could ever own. It was amazing. And I
Yeah.
couldn't top it. And it wasn't until tragedy struck and it came time to move, and times were hard, and I needed to like move into another apartment, and I needed to like put the security deposit down, and they wanted X number of rent, X number of months worth of rent, and I wound up having to sell it. So I actually didn't own it for that long, but in the time that I did have it, I was done, and it was such a weird feeling. Like it wasn't relief or anything like that. Like, oh, I don't have to keep hunting and searching because that stinks. And it didn't. I was just content.
Just
Like
content, right?
this filled everything, and then I had to sell it, and I were being just that destroyed me. Like I had no other options. I'd already sold a bunch of other stuff, and it just wasn't going to make it. And this was the only thing that I had that was like the most valuable thing in my collection that could bring in the money that I needed. So I wound up selling it. So fast forward 10, 15 years from that point, we were talking about like recollecting things. And although I didn't recollect that, what
Wow, he ran away to go buy it. He inspired Tom to go get his holy grail. He's running away to
going
get it.
back to Image Anime, even though they've been they left their original location, I did manage to get my original upset. What made me want to get the final burning one? This is not the one that I originally saw in the store, but this is the Godzilla Super Premium figure. He's like 2 feet tall. I don't have his tail assembled because he wouldn't fit right now. But this guy, man,
He's pretty cool.
It's something that I have wanted forever. I was so happy to finally get my hands on him. What it didn't do was make me stop. If anything, this guy made things worse.
Right.
Because once I got him, and I was doing a little bit better financially, I was like, he needs a friend. He needs a buddy.
Well, Godzilla married what's her name when they were young, so maybe they find her again.
Yeah, he needs a friend. Well, no, that was
Your sister's doll.
my other Godzilla.
That's the original. Like
as much as I love the Super Final Premium, and was very much a holy grail for me in my collection. The most valuable to me figure in my collection is that right. Godzilla, like what I would save in a fire if I wasn't overcome by the plastic fumes immediately.
Other holy grails, that I don't have any of the ones that I'm hoping to get. And some of them are simple. Like I have the they did the Michael Knight 2000 voice car. That was, it was like this big, the kit, and it had the 5-inch, I think, Michael Knight that would go in the car, and you press the license plate and it would talk.
Yeah.
I have the Michael Knight. I found him for, I don't know, a couple of bucks somewhere, but I really want a new one that looks good. And the car, and you can find them, but they're usually $200-300 for them in good shape. And it's another one of those things where it's a holy grail of mine. Like someday I'm going to cough out the money to get that. I think it came out at 82 or 83 when the show was big. Yeah. But we used to drive that thing off the patio, and it would jump onto the grass, and we'd make him evade the crushing power of a Tonka truck. And then we had a big like Tonka Winnebago that well, I was like, no, don't hit the kid car with the Winnebago. But the Winnebago lasted a lot longer than the kid car. But that Winnebago kept coming up in our play. Like that.
Was it made by Tonka?
Oh yeah, it was a Tonka Winnebago. It was not gonna it would have crushed the kid car. But those are the kind of things that you play with them when you're a kid, and now as an adult I want them. But I have a couple of those that I could kick myself about. The Castle of Fangs from LJN Dungeons and Dragons. I remember, and this is a long time ago now, maybe 15, 16 years. I saw one fully assembled at a flea market, and they only wanted $40 for it.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy it.
Oh,
and I wanted it. I don't know why I didn't buy it. I think it was one of those, well, it's early on, let me see what else is in the flea market, and then I just never got back,
yeah.
right? Um,
See, I didn't fully appreciate what I had. I had Castle of Fangs.
yeah,
Um,
we did.
yeah, oh, so did you manage to get it?
No, no, I don't have it now.
Oh, okay.
When we were kids.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what it was. Like when I had it, it was part of, yeah, one of my aunts who would randomly kind of bring stuff over for me. I remember
That
visiting.
was
I remember
80,
visiting her
83,
house.
I think, as well.
83. Yeah, that sounds about right. I remember visiting her house, and she had that and like a few more things for me in like the garage, and was
Right.
like, "Here, take this." And I loved it because it was like, yeah, it was like just a cool giant snake head that looks like a looks like a mountain. But I
Yeah.
didn't know, I wasn't into Dungeons and Dragons despite having some of like the monsters from it. So I didn't know this was a. I didn't know that it was
Yeah, it is
involved.
so cool. And
It is.
now, like, you could find the husk of it and then piece it together, but
Mhm.
the husk is going to cost you about $200. And to buy the whole thing again is like, anywhere between 1,300 and
Yeah.
1,700 bucks. Which
I
I can't do.
I used it. Did you use it as a playset for like your Joes, or did you stick with like
It
Dragon?
was for whatever, but it originally was the D&D, Crystar,
Mhm.
those kind of guys. Yeah.
See, I used it as a playset for Battle Beasts because it was
Oh yeah, I can see
perfect,
that.
kind of a perfect size. It was a little bit too big for them actually, but that's what
It was tight for
were.
the D&D guys because those
Yeah,
hallways that were booby trapped
yeah,
were thin. So it was, you literally
mhm,
had to like puppeteer them through there.
yeah. The Battle Beasts fit in perfectly. And speaking of, one of my other grails with them, that was another line where like I had collected them when I was younger, and once I got into college and the internet appeared and kind of like rediscovered them, at some point I had managed to recollect the entire original line with like their weapons and rub signs and whatnot.
Mhm.
I had gotten a bunch of it. What a great time that was, because you were still figuring stuff out and you were still finding new things, and we were getting in touch with sellers who had these in stock, and then like finding out that they were connected to Transformers and getting them into like individual boxes, because that was like a huge revelation that these things were sold in Japan by themselves with card, with art specifically done for them. There was a Japanese version of the poster that had appeared, and
Mm.
then laser beasts that people were like, every now and then someone would be like, I remember having one but it had a marble in it, and that being like, a what, you had what? And then there were Japanese ones that never came out here. And I remember just slowly acquiring all of these things. I remember getting the Shield Battler 6 set. There was the only thing that evaded me, and the only ones that I was still missing. That I'd gotten everyone, all the battle beasts, all the laser beasts, except for there was a baleen whale named Sea Panic who I had been tracking down.
It's a
And
good
then
name.
there was a multi-pack set that came out in Japan. I think it was called like the Planet Versus set, and it came with a character named like the big attraction was that it came with a character named Skull Grotesque, who was he's a dragon that wears like gold armor and he looked really cool. I had actually managed to get him separately. There was a mail away thing, and I should probably save this for a Battle Beast episode, but I managed to actually get a hold of him. The one that I wanted from that pack was a dinosaur, a T-Rex named King Buster, who I
King
don't remember.
Buster.
King Buster.
So was that saying his name was Buster and he was the king, or that he busted kings? Like he
No
would.
clue. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually clarify that on his card, but I've never been able to get it
Like he's the
translated.
guy who
But
just knocks them
yeah,
right off their
they
throne,
send them.
or is his name Buster?
Might be both. he
It'd be
might.
better if his name was
He might.
King Buster Rhymes.
He might. He came. He actually predates Buster Rhymes by a few. But if he came into his music, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
But those are the only two that evaded me. So those were my grail for a long time until, again, hard times, and I wound up having to sell a lot of them. So now it's everything. But uh, it, this is a great episode to be doing because I happen to have a lot of like things nearby that I get, and then I open them, and I'm like, holy cow, I can't believe I got this. And then I set them aside and I leave them out. So I've talked about Attack Pack before. No one loves the Attack Pack except me. I take it back. There's like 15 other people who exist who loved them.
And those are the 15 people who actually know Attack Track exists.
Yeah, and they're so great. They're the little vehicles from Mattel. Where if you pulled it was what if an animal smashed into a truck and now that truck is an animal, and you would pull the chain and their mouth would open. So I collected those like voraciously. Any new one that came out, I would get. And I remember there was a commercial that popped up for the newest wave, and it showed off 4 new Attack Pack figures. The 2 good guys, 2 bad guys. The 2 good guys were Wolverine, because Wolverine was super duper popular, so they were like,
Right.
I have Wolverine.
Of course.
Tooth Slayer, who was just a made up animal that looked cool.
Again, does he knock people's teeth out? Or
I'm not
does
sure.
he slay people with his teeth?
Well, it kind of looked like a minivan, and then when you open his mouth,
That's intimidating.
yeah, you would open its mouth, and 2 what I could only describe as half discs of flesh would come out of its mouth, and it was ridged with teeth. So like, you would open it and it would like splay these out, and that was its attack. But just
Wow,
kind of mortifying.
I'll never look at a Pacifica the same again.
They're like, we want to get that guy who worked on The Fly. Cronenberg is his name, Mr. That new guy Cronenberg. We could get you to this design. And I was trying to figure out how to get his name into an episode again. So
I think you're like, can I say Cronenberg more times than I say sectars?
So there was Wolverine, Tooth Slayer, and then the new bad guys were Riptile, who looked like one of those long-nosed hot rods, and it was just essentially just a giant mouth. He was like a caiman with wheels.
I was gonna say, hopefully it looked like some sort of reptile.
Yeah, so he was really cool. But what got me was one that they called King Hiss, and it was the first time I had encountered what companies will do to retain a name, because He-Man wasn't running at that point. Like they'd done New Adventures, and that had kind of disappeared. And prior to that, one of the other characters in the Attack Pack line was called Grizzlor, which I thought was also weird. He's based on a bear, and he looked really neat, and I got him. But the last one was named King Hiss, and never came out here. I never saw any of these 4 on shelves. And I remember again, like going online, finding random Attack Pack things and trying to figure out what I didn't have. And it was always some random like German seller that if you were lucky enough, you could find them. So I found the other 3. None of
God bless those random Germans.
Yeah, they're out there selling good toys. So keep an eye out. And for years, I would just on and off keep looking for King Hiss. And if I would find one, he'd be going for like $900. And it was insane until maybe like a year or 2 ago. But about a year ago, I was just as a random, I keep a notification thing on eBay to send me listings for XYZ, and one of them is King Hiss. So every day I get listings for the He-Man figure and not the King Hiss that I was looking for.
Right, yeah.
And when I would finally get one for King Hiss, it would already have ended, or it would be some ridiculous amount of money. So I started searching German sites or like German eBay randomly, because apparently these came out there, and there was a random lot of Attack Pack figures that had King Hiss in it. It's sitting at like $3 German. So I emailed the guy, and I'm like, I will give you, like, insert whatever amount for those right now if you send them to me. I'm in America. Can you? It's like, sold. Sure. All right, weirdo. And then within 2 weeks, I got King Hiss.
Nice.
And he's super cool. And I know that he's not. So this was his play feature. When you pull the chain, his mouth opens a little bit, and then when you fully pull it, the whole thing strikes out, because he's literally a coiled snake inside the car. And I don't know why I get so much enjoyment out of this. He's super cool, but this is something that like I've tracked and I've looked for and I've wanted for decades now, because I started collecting these when they first came out, and I never stopped looking for them. I know there are unreleased prototypes for figures that had been planned for later in the line, but I don't have any hopes of getting them. But this was attainable in some way, shape, or form. It just wasn't
Right.
to me. So being able to get a hold of them, and then wouldn't you know it, about a month later, I stumbled across a second auction, and I bought that one too.
Nice.
So technically, I have
Because it's so unlike you to buy 2 or 3 or something.
the other King Hiss is packed away in somewhere in storage, but this one stays out because I worked a long time to track this guy down.
Right.
And he's, he doesn't do my taxes for me or anything, but man, I love him. I loved getting him and opening him up and then doing a play feature. I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah, it's nice when you can finally get yours. And I'll get a couple of these grails. And the last one that I would say is a holy grail of mine before we have to wrap up is the LJN Dungeons and Dragons Tiamat. And the reason why he was so cool is because he was she was that crossover character. Tiamat was in the animated series, was the big bad. Like the episode where Tiamat showed up and you're like, oh, is Tiamat going to be like, and I think Warduke showed up in one of them, but when Tiamat was gonna, like, Venger showed up all the time in disguise, and then you find out he's Venger and so on. But when Tiamat showed up, and even Venger was like, nope, I'm out.
I'm gonna mess with this.
I'm not messing with Tiamat. And then the LJN Dungeons and Dragons weren't based on the animated series. We didn't get animated series toys until 2 years ago. But we had Tiamat, and Tiamat was in, across both the game and the cartoon. And then so the figures like the North Lord and Strongheart and all those were kind of based on concepts from the game. And Tiamat came out in that line. And with the 5 heads and the wings and the whole 9 yards. And now you can find it beat up for $200, and then you can find it in good shape for $800 or $900. But I would love to find a way to get Tiamat next to my Castle of Fangs, right? So I'll get Castle of Fangs, and then I'll set Tiamat right up next to it.
So the question is, are you going to be getting the Super 7 Tiamat?
I am.
He's a little pricey.
Right, he is. But then I'm doing the math in my head. Like, I could spend that much on that Tiamat, or I can spend that much and get the original one, right? So
what it comes to.
It's like, what is my Tiamat budget? And I honestly believe that if I had the money, I would get the old one. Like, if I was getting apples to apples, I would get the old one.
So that is a pretty good question. If you say something like, other than Tiamat, if you had the opportunity, like if the Super 7 Tiamat and the old one were the exact same price, you would go with the old one as opposed to, like,
I'd get the old one. I'd get the old one because that old one is my grail. Like, it's not Tiamat. That's my grail. It's that Tiamat is my grail.
Well, that's interesting. So I guess there's like one last. You're gonna hear a toy avalanche. Gonna have to move some stuff. So speaking of, like, reacquiring things, is it the character or is it the toy? That kind of leads me to this riveting entertainment. A lot of kind of mini grails.
Are you opening a box?
Yes and no. This is one that I had previously opened, but then, like, resealed because I didn't have anywhere to put this particular thing. But this was
in rare form today, my friend.
This is in that same category as
close it with medical tape.
The person that sent it sealed it with white duct tape. Kudos to them.
Right? Yeah,
they know what's
the good stuff.
They're like, no one's getting this except the person that paid me for it. In keeping in line with that, things that you just kind of keep an eye on eBay for, maybe something that I've always wanted. Maybe something will pop up as a good deal, and I'll be able to get it. Where it's not like it's not something I can't live without, but something I've been looking for a very long time and wasn't sure if I would ever be able to, like, get my hands on it for a price that wouldn't financially cripple me.
Right.
This was one of those things.
Are you just showing off that you're like, oh, this was a whole holy grail of mine, and but look, I have it.
No, this is I can't tell you how glad I am.
And every one of yours were like, oh, I looked for this, I really want it, but look, I have it.
Yeah, this is great timing because had we done this maybe like a year ago, I wouldn't have any of these. But I've had a year to like keep an eye out and do my hunting and do my searching. And this was again like keeping in with the things that you had but you wanted to reacquire.
Oh, nice.
I've been looking for a very long time. I had him when I was young. I had him in
Right.
Tendril. Metlaw at the
You
time.
just made Dale happy to see that on screen.
Here's looking at you, Dale. I as when I was younger, I had him and I had Tendril, and Metlar was the Grail for me because I didn't have him. But I had since gotten Metlar, and Metlar is now actually like the easiest.
Yeah, he's the easiest one to get. Yeah,
he's fairly cheap. Decompose for reasons I don't fully get. So hard to find for a price that's not ridiculous. And this one I'd been watching for a while, and it was getting near time for the auction to end, and I just threw a bid in, and I won him. Now, granted, like probably every decompose in existence or every inhumanoid in existence, the head comes off. But what you said before got me thinking, if there had been a new decompose made, or like if Hasbro started doing inhumanoids again, and they did them in the way that we were discussing last week, where it maybe like that raw, that McFarlane raw line, where they're about this size, just updated sculpting maybe. And the sculpting on this is still really good.
Yeah,
but, you know, something similar to this, modernized, kind of more modern articulation, head sculpt, like all that. I would probably get that and stop looking for this. Because as much as I enjoyed this and the memories this brings back, and him and the old Godzilla like suplexing each other off of the bunk beds, I don't need to spend.
That's why their heads fall off, Tom.
They should have made them better. Better. But like that, I thoroughly enjoy. But I think I love. I guess on the flip side, I love the character kind of more. Like I want the best representation to me of that character. And and right now, like this is all that we've got, and it's great, and I love it. But if something else had come out, I'd probably err towards that instead of this. So I guess were there any other? Do you have more Grails you'd like to discuss, or you want to wrap this up? Because
we could probably wrap it up. I think the only other one would have been the Kraken from the original, and we had that discussion when I brought up the Kraken. Yes. That there's a new one coming out, and I'm like, I don't want the new one. I want the old one.
So I guess before we head out, I gotta ask a question. Oh, maybe you already answered it. Are there any other holy grails? No limits on it. Are there any grails that you would like to get your hands on? If like you could just conjure it up right now, what would you get? No monkey paw logic or anything. Just you did a good deed, you get something. What would you like? What do you want?
I think because I'm in the Christmas spirit, and I'm thinking about Christmas shopping this weekend, I would like the Remco Universal Monsters that have the 9-inch ones, the Mega ones that have the like attack hug action.
Oh, okay.
Those that came out in, I don't know when they came out, 80, 81, maybe. They made Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, Creature from Black Lagoon, and the Wolfman. I don't think they did Phantom of the Opera. But if I could wish those up in good shapes, they just manifest. Well, that would be a cool gift for Derek, and it would not cost me any money if I could just manifest them.
Oh, that's very nice. That is very nice too. I thought you were gonna ask for one of those automatic rifles, like from A Christmas Story.
The Red Ryder BB gun.
You'll shoot your eye out, Dana.
I would. I'd at least break my glasses.
I was not very good with the BB gun. It bored me, so I just stopped using the one my daddy got.
Right.
I feel bad that he wasted his money. If I'm looking for just no limits, money's not an object, I would love to get my hands on it. And this is not something that I ever actively pursue. It's just something that I peek in on and laugh at the number, and then I move about my day. But if I could get my hands on it, I would want. So Takara used to make, and every now and then I think they will still make something called a lucky draw, and that is they'll take a Transformer character, like probably usually whatever is currently out, and they'll deco it up in sometimes it might be clear, or it might be just colors you would never see, and they make maybe like 200 or 300 of them, and then that's it. And the only people that get, like, you literally enter a lottery.
I feel like you should have a pipe today. It's like what was that TV show that would told stories?
Oh, Masterpiece Theater.
Masterpiece Theater, like Toy Tales with Tom.
Well, I want people to know.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Like, yes, indeed. This, I don't know what that is. You don't know what the lucky draw is, even.
They think it's a lotto card or something.
So you would enter a lottery, and if you were, that was the luck of the draw, and you might be able to purchase this thing. Mm-hmm. And at like conventions, they would have them on display sometimes, and you go and you could stare and be like, I'll never own one of those. The one that I would love to get my hands on was a black and gold version of Super Fire Convoy, who was it was when Optimus Prime was a fire truck in a series of car robots that was out in Japan.
Yeah, I hated that.
Oh, how dare you? They were fantastic. How dare you, sir?
But you know I'm a traditionalist. Prime is Prime. You don't make him a fire truck.
He saves all the people. So there was it's just really, really gorgeous black version of him with gold trim and highlight. It was like metallic gold. It's now probably all flaked off because we all know chroming is this is a bad idea. But I remember seeing first pictures of him online and losing my mind, and finding out it was a lucky draw, and then crying myself to sleep, and then seeing him at BotCon, and then it's just the whole swell of emotions all over again. There he is. I can't break the glass. And
so close,
right there. And yeah, any listing you find for him, it's just, it is the price you would expect for something that was super duper limited, and I will never ever own him. So in the back of my mind, I just secretly hope that the fire convoy that they are making now currently for they put up as a HasLab, which was awesome, and I backed it. I really hope that maybe we'll get like a selects release of him in those lucky draw colors, because that'll be the only way that I would have any hope of affording it. But if I could just conjure up something and get something that is my grail, like that is something
that would be a good one. That would be a good one.
I don't have any delusions about my ability to get my hands on that, but that would be great. So, all right, well, I guess we'll bring it to a close. Unless there's anything else you want to add?
Nope.
No.
My holy grail right now is lunch. I really want to go get lunch.
Ham sandwich sounds great. If you would like to tell us about your holy grail ham sandwich, no matter what kind of toppings you'd like on it, get a hold of us at Two Guys Talking Toys on Twitter, or the Blue Sky spot. That is Two Guys Talking Toys. That is the number 2.
Mr. Blue Sky.
The Talkin'. It's pretty great over there. Lots of positivity. I had forgotten what that was like.
And Mark Hamill's there.
That's true. He is there. It's millions of people are kind of heading over there. So if you want to go and not be drowned out in BS and just enjoy yourself, like Twitter used to be, come on over. Two Guys Talking Toys. That is the number 2. No G after the Talkin', both on the X Place and Blue Sky. Our Instagram handle is also 2G Talking Toys. Our Gmail is also Two Guys Talking Toys, the number 2. No G after the Talkin'. Get a hold of us. Tell your friends. Thank you for watching and listening. If you like the episode, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tell your friends. Take care, everybody.